Welcome everyone to She's the Boss Radio Network. We are a online radio station that broadcasts 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And this is our meetup, our Friday meetup. So we do a meetup once a month, and we bring a theme for our meetup. So every month, on the third Friday, we meet right here at the RL live stage. And I want to say a special thank you to RL for hosting it because it's just an awesome venue. But they allow us to come and bring women in media to the RL stage, and they broadcast it throughout the hotel. So this is the great part about it because they get to hear about what we do and our passion and why we like doing what we do. So tonight we chose longevity for women in media because we're new. Pam and I are new to the media scene. But we didn't want to just have it for radio. We opened it to the platform of all media. So be it social media, magazines, blogging, radio, traditional radio, internet radio. We wanted to open it up to everyone so that we can encourage women and help support each other and getting things like this going because, you know, when we all start out, it's really hard to do. Like, it's really hard to do. I know I learned the hard way. We kind of started off at Blog Talk. We did Blog Talk radio for like a couple of years. And it's so funny, Marsha, because Pam and I had been trying to, we were trying to get you to come to our original, it was a festival that we were doing. So we were trying to get you to come in. Well, what happened was we wound up changing it. We did it that 1 year, and our plan was to continue on doing it, but we started doing the radio part of it. So it was like, okay, we didn't get a chance to go back to doing the event. But it's fine. We finally got here, and I'm so excited. Like, I've jumped totally from introducing Marsha to, like, but it was just so awesome how it just kind of came full circle. So I'm very, very excited. Pam and I have a show on Saturdays that we call Unboxed. So it's She's the Boss Unboxed, and we come on every Saturday from 11 to 1. Tasha and I have a show called The Loser's Bench on Monday nights. And I know the Loser's Bench is like what, but it's because between the both of us, we've lost over 300 pounds. So we share our experience with the Loser's Bench. I know, right? So we share our experience, and we try different foods and all kind of crazy stuff on the Loser's Bench. So that's the fun part. And then my husband has a sports show called Sports Factor on Tuesday night. So the station is growing, but we thought to now kind of expand the platform. So we kind of jumped from radio to now TV, right? It's like it kind of happened by accident, but
right. I think, like you said, well, our name is Unboxed, you know,
right.
So that shows you right there that there is no limits on us. You know, where other people will probably say, you know, okay, let's take care of these things. But we found that once we got something running and it's stable, that we could jump into something else, and then we, you know, let that grow, and then we go into other things, avenues, and it has been amazing, truly amazing. Yeah. So I'm so thankful. And like I said, we did try to get you, but as they say, it's a timing. It was not the right time.
Exactly.
This is the right time.
Exactly.
And the right moment.
We're here now. Yes.
This is the right time in the moment.
Yes. So tonight we decided we're going to talk about, you know, just when we do the show, we kind of just talk about, you know, we tell people that it's like they're eavesdropping in our conversation, right? So we just kind of have a conversation about how we got started and where we kind of see radio going and where we kind of see magazines going. Because, you know, today being in an electronic world, it's like everything is online, everything is, you know, digital, and it's like things are really growing and evolving. So first, before we even do that, I wanted to introduce Marsha. So I wanted to introduce our first guest, Miss Marsha Reeves Jr. More than 30 years of executive level work experience, specializing specializing in communication, business and relationship development, marketing, event and trade show planning, and management. That part alone is like, that's one of the reasons why we actually reached out to you in the beginning. So Marsha is the executive producer. I am so honored. And host of Keep It Moving on radio show on WEAA 88.9 National Public Radio Station, aired from the campus of Morgan State University at 7 o'clock on Mondays. Owns Marsha Juice and Company, and the editor-at-large for Worldwide magazine. That is awesome. So we kind of got 2 for 1 with you, Marsha. So let me just ask you. Okay, so let's go on. We're gonna introduce you to Sinead also, because we want to make sure we kind of get you all in the conversation with us. So I'm gonna go over. Can you want to introduce yourself?
Let me put my glasses on here first of all. All right, down. She's a Baltimore native. Started at a young age in music ministry, from playing the piano, the keyboard, leading the praise worship, a part of liturgical dance ministry. Sinead Evans, correct? A daughter in the past. Oh, I'm sorry, Edwards. I do apologize, Edwards. A daughter of a pastor, began using her gifts at an early age. At the age of 18, she wrote and directed her first children's Christmas musical, David's Promise. Gaining experience in the music, marketing, public relations, and event planning while serving several churches in the Maryland and D.C., Virginia area. Continue to Nay. Oh, they call you Nay. All right, that's her nickname. They continue to grow. She began to truly branch out by partnering with the people from ground up and making her vision, dream, a success. She is sought after by many, not only for the church-oriented events, but to plan birthday parties, weddings, bridal showers, promotional parties, and CD release parties. She also prefers singing music for weddings, funerals, and other life-changing events. Shall I continue to read all of it? Because I'd like to leave a little bit for you. I would like to leave a little bit for you so that you can, like, say, introduce yourself. You know, this is all good, and there's nothing wrong with it, but to know you personally, you know, it needs to come from your mouth. So don't worry, she's going to tell us a little bit more about herself as well as we go on this. And like I said, today is about longevity. Like Marsha, we know that you have been out here for a while, so there's some things that we're going to learn from you. But I know that your magazine hasn't been, going for a long span of time. Maybe not to the years that Marsha's been out there. But we also need to know there was a start even before someone knew who you were. So that's why we always talk about longevity, because it's a longevity just coming from start to where you are, to when people know who you are. There's a longevity even in that. So when we talk about longevity, we're not just talking about longevity once someone knows you. We want to talk about the longevity that is from the beginnings as well.
And that's the important part of the journey. That's the important part. But what I wanted to kind of bring up is, isn't it funny how we all kind of have, like, you started and you're doing marketing and planning, and when you come over here, you're doing the same thing. That was like my beginning. So it's crazy how all of it kind of merged within each other. But I want to know, with you, Marsha, what made you decide? Okay, because you went from marketing and planning and C executive. I'm like, I want to know what C executive means. Like, you got to tell me about what does C executive mean?
Well, first of all, thank you all very much for having me, and it's really an honor. Sometimes you do what you do and you don't know who's paying attention, and it really means a lot to be here. And so I started my career just by happenstance. I decided that the college that my parents made me go to, was not for me. And so after a couple of years, I was out. I still don't have a degree, but it worked for me. I wouldn't recommend it to everybody, but it worked for me. And when I started, the first job I had was trade show management for a military organization, setting up military exhibits for the United States Marine Corps and selling advertising for their magazine. So that was back in the late 70s, right? And ultimately, I became a member of the editorial board because I'm so inquisitive. I read so much. I'm interested in so many odd things. But we were bringing tanks and helicopters in and showing them at the Sheraton Washington Hotel, which is now the Woodley on Connecticut and Woodley. And so I was the first black woman. I'm 65. So I was the first black woman who was doing that. And then I started consulting for the French Ministry of Defense and different organizations and doing trade shows in the middle of the Pentagon and really wild, crazy stuff, right? Fun stuff. But being in the publishing business was really interesting, and that's where I really started in that kind of communication. I was going to be an art major. I was going to draw myself through life. But then I went, Dillard didn't have the program that I needed to have to be an artist, like really. And all the people I thought were better artists than I was. And so I just decided that there was a different life that I needed to be in, a different path that I needed to be on. And ultimately, I ended up in Baltimore. And my first job was an advertising director for the Afro-American newspaper, which is 125 years old this year.
Wow.
But I was their advertising director for Baltimore, Washington, and Richmond. Okay. Advertising for that. And then I went and I was executive director for the Dance Theater Foundation of Maryland. So when you talk about what is senior level, what is C-level, it's when you're the senior manager, when you're running an organization and you're responsible for the budget, right? And meeting that budget and meeting the goals and the objectives of the board. And from there, I became the president, COO, operating officer, and associate publisher for Career Communications Group, which had the Black Engineer of the Year, Black Engineer in Information Technology magazine, and Hispanic Engineer in Information Technology magazine. And my responsibility was to make sure that all of the articles were in on time and everything was right. And then we also produced the Black Engineer of the Year Awards Conference. And I co-founded, I really wrote the original proposal for the Women of Color Technology Awards Conference, which is now in its 18th year or something. I don't know. I'm not involved. But I created that. And Black Family Technology Awareness Week. I wrote the original proposal because I believe that black people, there was a guy by the name of Larry Irving who at that time worked for NTIA, the National Telecommunications Information Organization, whatever it was. And he wrote the report called Falling Through the Net, which discussed the digital divide and how black people were not assigned and not focused on computers and what they can do and how they could empower their lives with technology. He coined that. Larry Irving and I are still friends to this day. That was a powerful report, Falling Through the Net. It came out of the Department of Commerce under the leadership of the Secretary Ron Brown. So when I read that, I said, black people don't know what they don't know. So when black people know what they do know, black people are going to be all in this. And we're the top purchasers of all types of technology equipment. That's serious. But we were doing this awareness week around, literally it was in 400 cities around the world. And then I went and I left there and I ran Alvin Ailey and I don't know. I moved to New York. I got a divorce and opened up an art gallery, and I was doing all kinds of stuff. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, when I opened up,
No, only thing I was going to say to you is it sounds like you still was an artist. You're just an artist in a different way.
You create different things in different environments. But I never thought I'd be on radio. I wasn't thinking radio. We had Success for Education, it was a television show, but I wasn't a part of it. I was just an associate producer. But I had an art gallery, that's another story, in Harlem. And somebody wanted me to come on their show, that was HCR at City College, to talk about why I opened up an art gallery on 124 in St. Nicholas. And I said, okay. So I went up there. It was down the street from my house, so I could go on home from there. And when I got back to the art gallery, because I didn't go home, Angela Harding, who was the director, the general manager for WHCR, called me at my art gallery. She said, "Can you come back and meet with me?" I said, "Sure." When I'm heading home, I went and she offered me a show.
Wow.
She liked my interview and said, "Can you come back and be on it?" I had Tuesday night at 5:00 p.m.
Right.
Like that's Ethan Drive, girl. What? And I went crazy. That was all. So I did. I went absolutely nuts. But I knew everybody in Louisiana. I knew all the people from my job with career communications at the Army Corps of Engineers. So I had all these generals, 1-star, 3-star, 2-star generals on the ground. No, this is real, girl. It was so deep. It was so deep. I just said, well, wait a minute. Let me call up General Ballard. 3-star generals down in Louisiana during Katrina.
Wow.
I had people on the ground. That's some breaking stuff that nobody had.
Wow. Yeah.
Major networks didn't have what I had because they were cool. They were my buddies, right? And so, I think that I go through all this history because sometimes it's taking advantage of the opportunity that presents itself and being able to acknowledge it as an opportunity and walk with no fear. And so I believe, I'm a Christian, right? Unapologetically. I walk in my authority. So if something like that, somebody calls you up and says, "You want a radio show?" Lord say yes. Okay, yes. 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 Okay. Well, I don't know what you want me to do, Lord. I'll just say yes. But I've never applied for a job that I've ever gotten. Let me say that one more time. I've never applied for a job that I've ever gotten. And so it's all divine.
Yes.
And if you lead with your spirit and allow God to guide you, then it will come to you.
I totally agree on that one. I totally agree because, like I said, I didn't think also that I would be doing what I am doing now. And, I also went through a divorce. So, if you go through those times when you're going through a divorce, and everybody may not understand, but anyone else who's gone through knows that it's not an easy thing to go through. It was an amicable type of divorce.
It depends
but
on which divorce.
Even for me, even for me, like I said, when I did go through my divorce, we were both on the same plane. So that was a good thing, but it's a matter of you being with that person for that amount of time. And it was not, like I said, it wasn't an abusive type of situation for me. But I didn't even know what I was going to be doing myself. And I met up with this young lady right here, and my life really changed. And as you said, I really more so became open to what God was telling me to do. Because I know I had taken that opportunity, and I hate to say this, this is not bad mouthing my ex, but I think had I not taken the opportunity while I was divorced at that time and separated from my husband at that time, I might not have taken the initiative to say yes to this young lady when God was telling me to do what it is that He wanted me to do. So, even through tragedy, this is all I want to say. Even though we go through tragic times, please don't allow it to stop you from doing what God has for you. Because I'm telling you, my life is so fantastic now. There's things that have happened to me that I would never, in my wildest dreams, have even thought could come to pass, and has come to pass. And I am truly looking forward to my future.
I can say, even for the radio side, I never saw myself doing radio. Like, when the lady, Patsy Anderson, introduced radio to us, I think in her mind she was just, selling radio. And we thought, okay, well, it's a great way to kind of get out the Women Entrepreneurs Festival that we were putting together. So it's like, okay, we'll advertise for it, not thinking that it would go to where it is today. It was blog talk, so nobody really took us serious. It was just blog talk radio. So with Pam and I both being in IT for, between both of us, we had like a 50-year combination of experience. We said, you know what, we can do this 24/7. Why not, take it to another level? And that's how the station came about. And it's been like going higher. I joke and say every 2-3 years we go someplace higher. And it's been like I learned from it. It's rough, it's hard, but I enjoy it. And it's like little things. Like I'm learning from the tiniest things that people would think is going wrong. It's like I take those little bits and pieces and I learn from it. So I get very excited, just hearing your story of and how you guys started. It's like it keeps coming full circle. Like it's such a connection. I'm just so excited. So tell us, Nay. Look, I got Nay tonight. Nay. So you, Martha's on radio. How did you come about doing? So you're in the magazine world, right? So how did you come about doing digital print?
Well, like my bio said, I grew up in church. I really didn't accept, the Lord for myself until I was about 10 years old. And as time went on, around, I would say, I went through a divorce and everything too, at a young age, got married early. But right after that, what happened was the pastor that I was, of the church I was going to at the time, shout out to Timber. I don't go there no more, but I love you guys. Is in Bowie, Maryland. He saw something in me because at the time I was on the praise and worship team and I also played the piano. And he said something about you. He was like, I think you should be our special events coordinator. I'm like, what? I don't know. I'm like, special events? He was like, yeah. So the first thing I did, my first thing I ever did for the church was a poetry night. Packed it out. That's when MySpace was popular. And I packed the church was packed. I had hip-hop artists, poetry poets, spoken word artists. I found all these people off of MySpace. And after that, people started contacting me and asking me to be their manager. Can I write press release for them? I'm like, what? Wait a minute. Where did all this come from? They would send me, like I said, MySpace was so popular then. And during that time, I didn't know a gentleman by the name of Troy Edwards, who's my husband. He was watching me too.
Okay.
And he lived in Atlanta at the time with his wife, and they had a company called 3HP Marketing Promotion, and they contacted me and asked me could I be the district manager of Baltimore area for their company. And I said, okay. So as I'm hearing everybody talk, it's the favor of God. Like, I don't know how this happened. No, it's the favor of God. It's so powerful we don't realize it. It just come from, doing what I was doing in the small church I was at and people just seeing that. And things happened at the time. I found out they would suffer. I did not like Troy Edwards at all. I could not stand him. He will tell you that. Like, she did not. Like, when I first took him to my mom and dad, they were sitting there like, that's Troy Edwards. I thought you didn't like him. What's he doing out here? And I said, I'm going to give it a try. So we ended up, of course, we got married. And I was still helping him with 3HP Marketing Promotion. And I was doing PR service for a lot of, Christian artists and things like that. And the first big opportunity I ever got was to do the stage for the National Hair Care Expo. And I did the stage for that, did the managing of the stage, got to meet some Kendrick Family Soul and all these other people that was there. And out the blue, this lady contacted me and said, Shanae, she's like, I'm sorry, I can't use your services anymore as a PR. She said, but I would like you to introduce you to a woman who has a magazine. And she said, I think you'll be good. She said, I love the way you did my bio. I love the way you do press releases. She said, you have a very creative way of doing things when you write. I'm like, okay. I was like, never thought about magazines. So I ended up being a contributing writer for Promoting Purpose magazine, which is a national magazine, faith-based as well. So I did a couple articles for them, and next thing out the blue, she called me and said, I love the way you write. She said, you see my vision, and I just love the way you think you want to be the managing director of my magazine. I said, wait a minute, managing? And I was like, okay. So then it got to the point where I saw her passion. But sometimes when you see someone's passion and you take it upon yourself and you start pushing so hard, you realize, like, it's something that it just grew on me. It's something I wanted to do. And then you realize maybe I'm overpowering the person. And I think that kind of got to the point where it's like, well, then I had to turn things in. I had to do certain things. So I said, no, I called her. I said, you know what? I think some of my ideas, was starting to clash. So when it get like to that point, it was like God was telling me, you can do this on your own. Like, step out on faith. Like, I've given you all the skills. You have the connections. You've got the experience now. So maybe you should try some of your own. So I talked to my husband about it. And he said, well, okay, we'll do an e-blast service. And then I started out as, IndieMogul started out as just an e-blast service. So I had maybe just 2 people, do the e-blast, do a story on them. And next thing I know, I talked to her earlier about Pam Reeves. She gave me a call and said, honey, baby girl, she called me baby girl. Baby girl, you should go ahead and do this magazine. I'm like, I don't know, like it's gonna be too much. So the first one I did, she actually had her on the cover. So it was just digital, and next thing, publicist was calling me. Wow. It was amazing. Managers, hey, can I be in the magazine? Can I do a story? Can I be a contributing writer? All this was coming at once, and I was overwhelmed. Like, what in the world happened? This is only supposed to be like an e-blast service and digital, and I'm like, what? So I prayed about it, and then I said, I talked to my husband. I said, let's just go ahead and try to print. Let's just see what happens. And out of the blue, I'm going to back up a little bit. Vicky Yohe, I know she had some issues not too long ago, but what happened was I tried to reach out to her when I was with the other magazine. No response. They ignored me. I kept hitting her, and then the lady at the other magazine, she said, you're never going to get people like that. The bigger celebrities and things like that. I'm like, okay. I said, well, all right. And I kind of, it hurt at the time. Right. Next thing I know, I said, let me try one more time. So I contact Vicky Yohe's people. She contacted me. I would love to be on the cover. So that was my first big person on the cover. After that, I ended up getting Ben Tanker, Jacqueline Carr. The list goes on. You can go on the website. It's www.emogulmagazine.com. You can see all the people that's been on the cover so far. Even the next issue, I'm dedicating it to men. I have Todd White, who's huge right now in the church. And it's just crazy. And I say it was hard because at the time I was going through so much stuff, but I didn't let those things hinder me from keep going. And it's just mine. I'm getting ready to get speechless, which has never happened because I didn't think that I would be to this point in a year. In just a year. And even now I have people, hey, I want to take the magazine to another level. So now I have people in Africa, South Africa. The next issue that's going to be in the fall is going to have a lot of people from South Africa. Once a big pastor out there contacted me, want to know if we can cross-promote. So I just wrote a book not too long ago. It was released April 18th. So they're going to talk about me. It's called the miniseries of me. So that's why the connection was even powerful too, because they're going to push my book in their magazine, and I'm going to push what they're doing in their church in my magazine. Wow. So that helps with the, growing the magazine as well as making it international. So officially in the fall, IndieMogul will be international. So I'm excited. I'm just excited. And I'm never tongue-tied like this. So I'm just excited.
There's a running theme in here. If you really listen to the stories, the running theme is God. It's in the midst of everything. And the running theme is yes. We never knew that we would be where we are today. Yes, we didn't know, the people that we were going to meet, the people that we wanted to get hooked up with at a specific time that we couldn't get hooked up with at that time will come back into our lives at the right time. So all I can say is thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
I get excited just listening to both of your stories and how you got started and how you kept going in spite of. I know it seems like, things kind of get hard, and it's like when it gets really, really hard, it's like when you get, I know this for myself, when things are getting like really, really hard, is where I see myself going to another place where I just never imagined it happening. But I'm excited and I'm thankful for it. It's like you almost begin to welcome the madness because you know it's something else is coming that's much bigger. So I definitely can relate to what you're saying. I wanted to ask, so for radio, I see radio being a lot different from when I was younger. Like I remember all the AM stations and all of that, and everything was really, we really thought we was doing something with pushing the record button on the recorder, and we really thought we were doing something then. But now technology has taken us way above leaps and bounds. Marsha, where do you see radio going since we've moved from like a traditional style of radio to now internet radio?
I think that's a really great question. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday that most people are listening to the radio online. So terrestrial radio is really changing. A lot of people aren't even listening to radio in their cars because they're programming their own music, they're bringing their CDs or whatever that is now. And so the question is, how long is that going to last? What happens with all these signals and the interferences that people have with regular terrestrial and those boundaries where somebody can be on their phone and they can listen. Most of my listeners listen to me because they're literally all over the world. They're listening to me on their cell phones and the mobile app for WEAA. Or they're picking up my podcast after the show on the app on their phone. So the question really begs for all of National Public Radio, as well as all the radio stations. You're finding a lot of radio stations are shutting down. You're finding that they're changing their format. You're finding that some of them are not even running as often as they were running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I think that people are having to reassess what terrestrial radio looks like, but you find all of them on the internet. They all have some type of connection, some type of mobile app, something for you to be able to go onto the internet to listen. So I think that I don't think it's going to be long for this world, for real. I don't even know that people have radios. I mean, literally, we were looking for a radio at the store. We couldn't find a radio in the store. We couldn't find a radio. I'm going to say it one more time. We couldn't find a radio in the store. I mean, I grew up on radio. So what happened to the radios? They don't have transistor radios anymore. That's serious. Where's transistor radios? There's no transistor radios. People are listening to them. So I think that in another couple of years, we're going to really see the changes. You see Sirius where people are purchasing it and it's automatically part of their car. And you can buy the little devices to put in your house. But it's still almost like an internet type thing. So we'll see. I don't know, but I see that a lot of people the cost and the towers are so expensive versus being able to use a typical satellite that's being used for your cell phone. Every cell phone has a connection, and you're bouncing the signals off of wherever you are. So I think a lot of people are real desperate right about now, trying to see where they're really going and what this is really going to look like. I don't think it'll disappear in my lifetime. But I already told you how old I am. But it might be before I get out of here.
But I agree. We recently went to West Virginia to pick up the kids from college, and the worst thing is getting up in those mountains and the radio signal. I mean, used to be you could get a little further out of Maryland before you lose your signal. Now it's like you can't even get to Hagerstown and your signal is gone. So now we're at a place where we download the music to our laptop or to our phone. We plug in the aux cord, and now we have music. Well, of course, we're listening to Shoot Boss Radio, but we have music. But I think, when you look back
where we used to be. Like I said, I used to love listening to AM radio. I mean, it was staticky, but I used to love listening to it. So now where we are and with the sound being crisp and so much cleaner, I'm looking forward to where we're going in the future, like with actual meeting technology. So it's like it's really, really, exciting to see how things are growing. But I'm constantly going out and kind of like Googling. Me and Pam kind of went to Tesla's site. We were so excited to see that they had internet radio in the car because it's like, yes, because we're going to get on there somehow, some way. So it's really, really good to see how far technology has grown.
I think, like I said, what you were saying, you experience, the AM radio and everything of that nature, and then you go back into the stores, and now the things that we enjoyed, and I do speak for myself as well. The things that I enjoyed when I was a little girl, a teenager, are no longer out there. And in order for, I truly believe, in order for us to continue to be in longevity, you have to be mindful of what is going on out there in the world. And you're going to have to, like, if you have to Google it, then you Google it. But if you have whatever you have to do to research what is going on, to try to stay up on what is going on. Because technology, as she said, we've been doing technology for some time. It's an ever-changing and always evolving into something different. And so as a company, where you're going, you have to kind of be mindful of what's going, the changes that's out there. It's not saying that you have to change tomorrow, but you know that it's coming your way, to be prepped and ready for it, for that change. Because you said, like you're doing magazines, and with the magazine, you're not only doing magazines, that get to hold the physical magazine, but you also get it digitally. So you know now that it's not just, I can't just have just paper, like that. And I need to, in order to get to beyond where I want to be, to go where I want to be, not go, and beyond where my mind can conceive, I need to know what is happening out here in the world. So, remember, people, that we all need to kind of be mindful, if you want longevity, that we do have to be mindful what is going on in this world, what is going on in the market. Because sometimes people will get to a point and say, well, I'm not going there. I don't care about that. No, you need to care about it. Like I said, it's not that you have to do it. We may not have to do it this moment, but you need to be prepared for what is coming. Exactly. Because it's coming whether you like it or not. And in longevity,
it's already here.
Right. With longevity, you need to know what's out there and how to stay out there.
And it's really interesting because I'm the editor-at-large for Worldwide magazine. And, we print the magazine a couple of times a year, but most of the time we're on our blog. And we have writers literally from all over the world, and we just stick them up on the internet, and they're downloading our app, they're looking at it on their telephone, they're reading it online. And, periodically when we do this quarterly, we sell the magazine, but we get so much traction and so many hits online. It's amazing. But, there's something about, and I think the people who get subscribed to the magazine, there's just something about the magazine and being able to touch it. You know what I mean? Go back and look at it like a book. I don't want to read the book online. Don't send me no daggone manuscript, no PDF. I want to turn the page.
Oh, no, I do. I'm one of those persons, too, who love to touch it. But, again, like you said, there's others out there. You've got a mass of people who saying, I don't care about, I need to, turn each page and read it. I'll get my, my Kindle or whatever device that I have, and I can read from here because I can take it to the beach, I can take it to this, and I don't have to worry about it because of the device that I have. I don't have to worry about it getting wet or, like that. But tell me about, meeting, like in this digital world also, as you talk about the people you work with, employees, you find that it's better now because now you can reach beyond the four walls, within your area. Because it used to be like, I would find if I was going for a job, I applied for the job, but I was normally within the neighborhood, not too far, 50 miles maybe at the most. But now do you find that you're finding yourself going, reaching across, as you just said, you're reaching cross waters.
Yes. Nothing too all international.
You're reaching cross waters.
Yes.
So how did you, I guess when I know you thought this was, I don't want to say a fluke. You didn't really believe that it was going to happen. But have you considered, other ways of talking to people or getting people to work with your magazine outside of the United States and into other areas, like said, across the borders?
Well, one thing that I think helped is because I'm so heavy into music, and the magazine base is, music. So, of course, when someone has an album or something come out, if they're overseas and they're trying to get it over here, then the first thing they want to know is, okay, well, can I be in your magazine? How many people are going to read it? How is my exposure going to be in your area? Those are the questions. And then when you can provide that, then you can also, since I'm doing that, when you're in the magazine, can you push it to your area? So then, those people in, like I said, South Africa or UK or wherever they're from, first thing they're going to do is go to your site, go to your Facebook page, things like that. They're going to start reading it. And then they'll share it. And then next thing you know, you'll start building your fan base outside of just your circle. Because at first, I always thought I was just going to be in this area. I'm just going to promote the DMV. Then it became DMV Atlanta. The next thing you know, somebody else, hey, can I be a part? Because I think social media right now is so powerful. Radio, magazine, anything like that. Because you start to network and getting in these Facebook groups, getting on Instagram. Instagram right now, people are sleeping on it, but it's becoming really powerful, just as big as Facebook. Because sometimes when I just post a picture of who's going to be on the cover, especially when you do things like that, if people can relate what you're doing to a face, they automatically want to be a part of it.
Right.
Oh man, you having this person? Hey, how can I be down? So, and I think that helps a lot, especially when you want to branch out and getting. I'm the type of person I always want to give people a chance, but I know at the back of my mind I need to have a face so people can want to have that chance.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have, let's say if you don't have the biggest thing going right now, with what you're doing, then people are like, I don't know, because especially when people want to do ad space. They want to know, hey, okay, you asking me this amount of money, to be a part of your magazine or to be, hey, advertise with me. Why do I want to advertise with you? Where is the reach going to be at? And things like that. So I think it really helps. Social media is becoming huge, especially with what I do. I get a lot of hits just from, the people that are in my area or my group page. It's growing every day just from that and people sharing like, hey, I'm in a magazine, or then don't put them on the cover. Then they're going to share. Yeah, so even now somebody asks me, why you always have more than one person on the cover? It's a strategy to that because all those people that's on the cover, they're going to push it. Now, I always try to get people from different areas. I never stick to one area. That's why even the last issue I had Lexi, she's in the South. I had somebody else in Chicago. I had the other woman, she was from the UK. All those people, of course, they on the cover, they're going to share it, and then that brings traffic towards what you're doing. So there's a little strategy with that too. And I'm still learning as I grow, but yeah, that's what I'm doing now.
So that was some good tips. I'm hoping they heard you. I'm telling you, there was some good tips in there.
Did either you find or found when you first got started that I don't want to say you have a lot of resistance and people that I hate to say it, but it is what it is. You get a lot of resistance and people just wanting support and for you to kind of guide you in the right direction. I know when we first got started, it was like pulling teeth trying to get any type of information from anyone, and it was like they wouldn't give you would ask, but they wouldn't give it to you, and then you share an idea, and then before you know it, somebody else is doing what you shared. So do you find that either one of you might have had that issue when you first kind of got started with doing either parts of media?
I think when I first started, I was really dealing with white males when they were in the military, and they were more interested in the product and getting the product out. What I found, and I was living in D.C. at that time, it was odd for me to be doing what I was doing by comparison to other people. And so I found that people were trying to understand why I was even doing the product that I was doing. A black woman dealing with a military product and talking about tanks and helicopters and shoulder missiles. So it didn't match.
right? Because I was still dressing in makeup and whatever. So, but I think that it's all about how you see yourself. And if you allow other people's opinions or their thoughts or their pain impact what you're doing. And so I just have had a opinion. I don't really care what you think at all, ever. And I'm going to do what God has said it was okay to do, because it only could have been God to get me in a job like that, just by circumstance of how it occurred. So, you know, I think too often people are jealous, they're upset, they're angry, whatever they are. Somebody posted on Facebook today that she had finally accomplished something that she had wanted to do for most of her life, and her friend told her why she wasn't even worthy. Now, that was just today, and I have my phone. I want to show you. What does that mean? How do you... So, I thought friends were supposed to be a different caliber. Friends and people in your lives are supposed to empower, to encourage, to build you, to love you, and to help you navigate and to see you through. And they're the wind underneath your wings. How is that possible? And so if we keep in mind that there's always, the enemy is always trying to take you off your path. And if you stay focused, diligently seeking him, and you stay focused on what you're supposed to be doing and your mission, there was a reason God had me setting up military exhibits. There was a reason. And it was to change my life from after a divorce. There was a reason I was supposed to make plus 6 figures back in that time and live in a 6-bedroom house in Bethesda. That's serious. After having gone through an abusive relationship. And so, you know, you sit down and you say, okay, God's going to give you this because you made it through, and you still had faith, and you still had courage, and you still fought. So for all of you out there who are trying to navigate to the next level, and all those naysayers, they're just there to keep you from getting to your mark. And when you remove all that negative energy from your life, because they're not there to help you. If you can't help me, then you're hindering my steps. And so I now have the ability to be able to ascertain and to discern why you're in my space. And I will tell you, girl, get out my face, right? And I don't have a problem saying, girl, get out my face. I ain't even trying, all that negative energy, I'm not trying to hear it. Girl, get out my face. And I'm very sure, I don't care who you are. I don't care what your title is. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care where you live. If it is not something to build me up or to encourage me, God did not send you to me. That's all I'm going to say on that, minister. And that's real, though. It's so real. That is so real. If you ask anybody, oh, girl, don't say that to Marsha Shea. Don't tell her what'll come out of her lips. And that's real. I'm serious. I do it on the air. Get out my face. Anybody trying to hear that? All that negative stuff. What? No. God didn't send that. God didn't tell you to say that to me. No. That wasn't God. No. I know that wasn't God. God, I sure would not say that, right? Right.
And I think with I think with me, it was because I always played the sidekick or the background. So when it came time for me to step into my own, even with my husband, I was his partner, or that's Mrs. 3HP, or that's Mrs. Edwards. So now it's like, oh, what's going on? Like, even the people that I used to promote for, I don't know where they are. I don't know. I did PR for. Where y'all at? No support whatsoever. But when I was doing things for everybody else and supporting them, following all of them all over the place at their events, and sharing all their stuff all on my personal page. Then it was like, oh, she's so wonderful, she's awesome, hey. Then it was like, wait a minute, what? She started her own magazine? What? She wrote a book? Then hi, would you? I'm busy, or, little stuff like that. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. But the people that's coming into my life now, that's fine. Y'all don't have to support me. But the people that are supporting right now, oh, you best believe my team is on point. I love them. And I think some people get to the point where it's like, well, they don't want to step out of their comfort zone. They feel like, some people, that's what they are. They are like during that time, that's what they're supposed to do. I'm not saying that's their gift. They're there to help and things like that. But I knew it in my heart that's not what I was designed to be. Because I always loved to help people. I knew something was in me more. It was like something that's like, Lord, I love helping people, but then I found out I'm still helping people. Mm-hmm. I'm still helping, putting them in the magazine or still promoting in some type of way with what I'm doing. So, they can hate all they want to, and I still show love, but at the end of the day, I'm doing what God told me to do a long time ago, and I'm like, this is like the happiest moment of my life. I still have some, we still have some growing pains going on, and even I will share with you guys now, even now I'm on a 40-day fast. And God has just been showing me so much stuff, like, it's crazy. Even now, some of my family is, like, coming against me. And I'm like, okay, now this part hurts, because these are the people that's supposed to love me, that blood is running, through my veins, got the same blood, and now they're acting silly, too. So now what? So God is, like, showing me now, regardless, even your family, at the end of the day, I'm loved. I'm the one that's helping you. I'm the one you need to be focused on. You keep focusing on me, everything else will fall into line. So I think when people get to that point that, family, friends, and things like that, sometimes it don't even matter. Right. God will send the right people. And I was talking to her earlier, like even now with my mother going through some things, God sent somebody else. Just not saying she's my mom, but somebody just step in to, keep me encouraged. And them nights I'm crying and, hey, honey, can you just help me get through this little part, please? And, and she encouraged me, things like that. But, I think people, we also need somebody in our lives, too, to help us, push us just a little. Hey, go ahead, baby, you can do it. Oh, you fell. Go ahead, get up, you got this. And I think a lot of people, it hurts me because some people don't have that. So when they fall, it's like they fall and they find themselves, they feel like they're alone. But then you have to also realize when you don't have that, you still have God. And I think with this fast, like I said, I've been going through this, and I'm like, even now I'm like I feel like I'm by myself. I feel people around me, but at the same time, I feel like God, I just hear God all the time. I'm right here. Like, don't worry about it. I got you. And then something else happened, and then something else happened. I'm like, okay, God, even something simple, and I'm going to share this real quick. I also work my full time during the day. I'm a support employment coordinator. I help people with autism find jobs. And one of the guys came in, and I was like, I left my wallet home. I don't have no lunch. What's going on? He came in, hey, can I buy one of your books real quick? I'm like, even little things, God, you were considering me. You know what? My daughter, you need lunch. Let me get somebody to buy your book. And I was able to get lunch. I'm like, even that was like, okay, God, I got you. You have me no matter what. You still have me. You even thought about me eating lunch, knowing I'm fasting. So I went and got my salad. But, but I'm like, wow, it was just mind-blowing. That little experience just took me to a whole nother level. Like, you care about even the little things that I do. So I don't have to worry about people hating me and things like that.
And I want to say this, too, because I think it's really key. All of those people that don't show themselves approved, God is removing them.
Yes.
They are in your way.
Yes.
They are blocking your blessings.
Yes.
And you need to keep it moving. You can't get caught in somebody else's experience. You can't get caught in somebody who is standing in your pathway and they don't even realize that they're blocking your blessing. And sometimes you have to tell them, you are blocking my blessing.
Wow.
And God no longer, because you can hear from the Spirit.
Yes.
You can no longer be our time, a reason, a season, or a lifetime. You are not a lifetime friend. Our season is over. And I'm okay saying that. And we all have to be able to say that. And if it doesn't feel right, if you feel it in your spirit, it doesn't feel right, then it's time to move on.
I
I think sometimes too, even like I say what you were saying, there are times you want your friend or you want your family member to be there, just to be that support, and they're not that support for you, and you do have to say, okay, I have to put you aside in order to continue doing what I need to do. This is what God is telling me, and I have to complete this task. You're not going to with me, and it hurts. It does hurt, but I feel like a lot of times too, even though you have to leave someone behind, God is propelling you. So somebody that you left behind needed to see you go forward, because it's for them to see you so they can say, you know what, I can make it. I know I wasn't there for you at the beginning, but I thought, he was like me. She couldn't get it. She couldn't get to that level either, because we are friends. We're family. We're blood. We're whatever you got in your mind, that person has in their mind, and they're thinking, hey, you came from the same household I am. Now, what makes you think that you're better than me to get to where it is that you're saying you want to get? Let me. I know what you're saying. I'm not saying you got to live, but I think sometimes God uses
so much
us.
Negative energy from my family.
I think God uses us for some. I'm not saying all. But I think God uses us as He's propelling us for somebody else to see us, so they can change their life. That's what I'm talking about.
If they can.
Yes.
But I'm not worrying about them anymore.
Oh no, this is not about worrying about them. No.
But sometimes when we leave a place that we know we don't need to be, sometimes what's her name? Who was that turned to stone? She wasn't supposed to look back.
Okay, Lot's wife.
Lot's wife was walking down the street and she turned around. The Lord said, "Don't turn around. Keep going." He didn't say turn around. And when she turned around, that's where she stayed.
Right.
I am not Lot's wife.
Right. But I think when you get to I think when you get to a place where you are comfortable with you, and you get to that place of saying, okay, it's not about you, it's about me right now, and the things that I know that I have to do, I think that's when you're able to say, okay, I ain't looking back.
But see, you don't have to look back, and you don't even have to get to that place. What you can see is what they say to you. It's their behavior to you. And when they start bringing all that negative, whatever it is, that's not what I'm receiving. I don't receive that. God didn't tell you to call me up and say that. And I will delete you and block you and whatever else you
get blocked.
Okay? And at some point you have to make those decisions, because we keep trying to carry, that's baggage.
Yeah.
You keep trying to carry this so heavy, you all bent down, trying to hold on to some fool who is not interested in you. Right. They just want you to hold. You know what? And I'm going to tell you, this is a very serious story. This is serious. So cold-blooded. And it was like a rude awakening for me. I had a huge, very visible, ugly divorce. My last husband, I had 3 of them. I left them all, but whatever. And so this woman says to me, now this is true, because I used to be like a little socialite. Wherever it was, I was there. I was on the cover, I was somewhere. I was doing all that. And this woman saw me. I had gone through pain, heart all broke down. I'm all depressed. I'm on Prozac. And she said, "Girl, you need to come on home, because my social life has really diminished since you moved to New York." That's a true story. I said, I was in a fall. I was like, what? What you say? What did you say? Can you say that again? She said, my social life has diminished since you moved to New York. I said, oh, girl, I got to go. I'll talk to you later. And I have not spoken to her since. Wow. So I was her entertainment. I was her social life. I call up people, we get tables to go do something. She said, come on, bring your husband. Hey, come on, we can break. Come on, I'm getting ready. I just decided, come on over. Oh. So who cares that your heart is broken? Who cares want my social life back. Because ain't nobody else calling me and asking me to come to their house. And ain't nobody else taking me to no free whatever. And so you have, that was an epiphany. And really, I had to analyze all the people who were really in my life. And you have to do an assessment. I don't want it to be the crisis for whoever, but you have to assess the people who are in your life, why they're in your life, and how they behaved and how they treated you during that relationship. And you really have to put it on in a formula and determine whether or not that person is really the person you need to be associating with. Because there are a whole bunch of other people who are wonderful and kind, and they may be a little bit more demure. They may not go to, but they're in your corner, and they love you unconditionally. And those are the people who are your real friends. They don't have the bells and the whistles. They don't have the big name. They're not making the $1 million a year. But they're real people, and their hearts are pure, and they're kind, and they're good, and they want nothing but the best for you. And if you don't fit that category, you can't be in my life.
I wonder, while everybody was talking, I was sitting there thinking, and all I could think of was, I'm going to Bible, when God was saying He'll prepare a table in front of the presence of your enemies. And we sometimes don't realize that it hurts, but we kind of need enemies. Because when we eat from the table, they got to be there. So that promise has to come true. And I was even thinking about the story of Joseph. Since she went to Lot, I was also thinking about Joseph at the same time. How his family, he had all these dreams of what he was going to do. They were going to bow down to him. And you see what happened to him. They threw him in the pit. And he went through all that stuff. And guess who they came to? They didn't even realize. They didn't even recognize him because he was a totally different person. And I think sometimes God will put you in a position where, like you were saying earlier, like they need to see you move forward, and doing different things, because when they turn around, oh my gosh, that's Pam? What? She's doing that? Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Then you might, even if you don't get an apology for things they've done, they see it and they see what you have accomplished, and then they be like, wow, like I sat there and I did this to her, or I belittled her, or I threw her in a pit, and look at her now. So
I can relate.
So it's like when you kind of got to look at it at both sides. After everybody was talking, I was like, we kind of got to look at it at both sides too. Embrace the hatred at the same time. But that's why that story came. I'm like, wait a minute. I said, because he never cursed them. He never did anything. He never talked bad about his family, anything. He just kept moving. He just kept doing what God told him to do, and at the end, he still helped them. Yeah. And they were thankful for that.
Wonderful. And I will.
Yeah.
You don't need to be close up.
No, he was not close to them. Yeah, he told them. Yeah, after that,
you don't need to
only
be up
thing
in
he
here.
said was, "Let me see my dad."
You don't need to be up in here. I can. All right, I can forgive you.
Yeah,
but I ain't forget.
Yeah, he forgave. I did want. Yeah, that's what I'm in. But he forgave and went back. But the only person he really wanted to see was his father, because that's the person. Yeah, I'm gonna do what because God requires me to still love you and things like that. But yeah, let me see my dad, because he's the one who was treating me right. He did believe me. He want me to coach. So.
This has been an amazing evening for me. Like, I'm like just loving this. Like, this is really good, and I'm a firm believer that the people that are in the room are the people that are supposed to be in the room. I want to say a special thank you to both of you, because even listening to your testimony right now kind of replayed, I just recently had that very experience of, the person sitting at the table having to witness it for me. And with you saying it, it was like, okay, that person being in this very room, and it's playing back in my head. So it's like, okay, this is good. But for me, I love it when they tell me I can't, because that car's kind of kicking, and I got to show you that I can. So I'm loving it, and I'm just loving it. And I thank you very much for coming and spending time with us tonight. It's just been a pleasure to finally meet you. And I look forward to reconnecting with you and sharing your information, because that's what the meetup is all about: encouraging, empowering women level, push a little harder. I know sometimes it gets so crazy, it gets hard, but we have to encourage each other and empower each other to keep going. You know, it's so much going on today, and I think if we as women help each other a little bit more, a lot more, it would take us to way more higher levels than where we are. It's like, and I hate to say that, it's like I see the different reality shows, and it's like they show us in such a negative light, you know. So to be able to sit here on a platform with women, and we're not clawing at each other, and we're not fighting each other, and we're giving a positive message, it really warms my heart. Like, I know I'm not a reality TV person. Like, I just can't do it. I think it's wasted airtime. It's like so much more can be on TV. But, you know, it takes platforms like this to show that, you know, there's so much more out there. And this is real reality. This is real reality. This isn't scripted. This is real reality. So I thank you all so much.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
We thank RL Hotel for sharing your facility with us. We'll be back another, third Friday of June, the 16th, right here with our meetup again. And then we're bringing a special celebrity makeup artist, Fred for Face here. Frederick Saunders coming to do an actual workshop right here on stage at Hotel RL to launch my new skincare and cosmetics line. I'm very excited. Congratulations. So he's coming here to launch the line. I'm so excited. Like, I love it. It's like a drug. So we're going to be here again next month. And we hope to have everybody come on down and join us again next meetup. And don't forget to share it with your friends. Let them know that there are women that's looking to help other women to get to where they need to be in media, any format or form of media. Thank you all. So we have plenty of refreshments, food, drinks. We're just going to network. Like we didn't already network. Yeah, right. So thank you very much, ladies. Appreciate it.